Kufa. What bracha do you make on olive oil? Shem zayis. Now, the Gemara says, how exactly does that happen? If you just drink straight up olive oil, in fact, it's uzuki mazikla. So there's a similar halacha. There's a halacha in truma that when a person damages truma, he pays for it. When a person eats truma, the Torah says, so then you have to pay also a fine. You have to pay at the bottom of Lamed Hey and Beis. So if he drinks shemen zayis, though, is that called drinking or is that called damaging? So that's called damaging because that's not drinkable. Whereas if you sach, if you rub oil and use the oil, so that's called using it. That's called consuming it. Then you pay chodesh. So the point proven is that drinking oil is not called eating. So therefore, you cannot make a bracha. Bracha is only when you nene from the eating. If there's no eat, there's no nene, there's no bracha. So Zok the Gemara, it could be to pass. If you use a spread on your bread, then it's called eating. That's 100% edible. Havli pasik toffel, but there's concept of ikar v'toffel. We didn't discuss this yet. But here, the Gemara introduces it. That it's not zeklal. This is a Mishnah later on. Kol sheikar you only tefillah v'achol ikar peitus tefillah. What bracha do you make when you eat bread and butter? Do you make a shakol and the butter? No, you make a mitzi. It's the same thing. So that can't be where Chazal said you make a eitz on olive oil. It's called shasid idea nigurin. You drink the oil, the olive oil with beet juice. That's called with a drink called a nigurin, made of beets and olive oil. So therefore, the Mishmash one nigurin made of silka. That's beet juice. And nisgrain is made of kulashok or other vegetable. And that's called a sigrain. In Cain, now, therefore, that's where you make a eitz. But when the Gemara says, 1 second, nigurin ikar is showing tuffle. But again, why are you making the bracha on the oil? It's an addition to the main drink. But tonight, that cloud, because you can make tefillah, you always make a bracha on the ikar. Here, the beet juice is the ikar. So more answers, yeah, but it depends on what your intent is. He has a sore throat. Now, you want to drink something to soothe the throat on Shabbos, you cannot use medicine on Shabbos. That's awesome. What we can do is, so you can drink something which is maybe helps, but it has to be clear that it's drinking his food, not his medicine. So don't just drink oil. Don't just gargle oil in your mouth on Shabbos. What you can do is you can add a little extra. You can add more to the nigurin, which normally drank with oil. It's normally drunk with oil, and therefore it's not considered chil Shabbos u'boleya. In fact, the Gemara obviously pshita ma'adutin kevan refuah. But since really my intent is refuah, who are you fooling? No, you don't make a bracha, of course, no. But and it came with the Isla Anomine, once there is also enjoyment, there also is pleasure in drinking it, so then that always boy brucha. Also let us mozeh beli bracha. Okay. Rabbi Sai, we're up to Lam and Vav and Aleph, the Sugya, now we're starting the Sugya here. Kimcha de Chiti. The Gemara says as follows. What bracha do you make on flour? Now, normally, obviously, flour is not something you just eat. You don't eat flour. Flour, you make bread with flour. So what do you do? If you don't want so since it's basically wheat in its unprocessed form, so it grows from the ground. No, it's not really. See, there's a rule when something is not really the way it's supposed to be made to eat in its food, you do make a shahakal on it. So it should be shahakal even for don't argue on the Yehuda, you make bread piyadam, even they agree, just like we say, the sugi we just learned. If oil, which is also processed and broken down, and yet it retains its identity, and it make a way for AIDS. Just because something is unrecognizable, it doesn't look like its natural form, it still retains its identity. And therefore, even though the flour doesn't look like the wheat, but it's called wheat, and you make a by priyadama. So the Gemara answers, what's the raya b'chlal midami? What's the comparison? Also, unless the iluya achrinin. It depends on what the process is doing. If the process is, if it's the original thing and just broken down into a different form, so then it retains its identity. Once it's broken down in order to change it into something else, which is a better quality food, so then you've broken its identity and you're going to make it something new. So then it loses its identity, and therefore you can't call it priyadama anymore. So you can make a shakal. Anything that doesn't have an identity, priyadama, will automatically be categorized as shahakal. So so Mara says, so what? Who says that proves anything? Just because it's going to have a better result at the end, does that mean you can't still say its original identity, its name, priyadama, ela shakal? If you have gourd, chaya, raw gourd, kimcha desairi, or wheat. This is what's important for our discussion. Not wheat, barley flour. So even though here it's also processing it, so because it's barley flour, which we're going to see in a minute, this is even barley. Is not really an ideal food. It's really not. It's not mostly made with. You don't really. Most people do not use barley to make bread, so it's not an ideal food. So that's why over here it says that barley, when it's in flour, now from this we want to infer the following. Therefore, my lab the chiti. That's only barley because it's inferior. But chiti, which is supposed to be made into wheat, into flour and bread, that will, because it's more chashiv, will retain its identity. It's bari priyadama. So why are you telling me that flour is shahakal? So the Gemara rejects that. It says, "Lo, it's not a raya. Chitinami shakal. They're also so b'gvara. So why in the world are you talking about flour, barley from flour? Who ever heard of that? Just talk about regular flour, shahakal." But want to teach you. So the answer is to teach us chiti. The culture came to say, why? What's the culture? I would have thought only flour, only wheat. But maybe flour of barley is almost completely considered unedible. You don't make a brach at all. Kamash malon, no, you do make a shahakal. So the Gemara says, why would you think you really make no bracha? Why would you think you make no bracha? Just because it's not in its proper form. It's no salt. It's not really something you eat either. But if you choose to eat it, you make a bracha. It's just nothing. Of an inish to study the pool. People do occasionally have an interest just to eat some salt. It's not barley flour. It's not just doesn't taste great, but it's really unhealthy. So it's called. It's bad for stomach. It's bad for the stomach. Some type of stomach diseases. So therefore, lo levarach of cloud. It's not food. It doesn't taste good. It's not food. It's not healthy. Just why would you make a bracha on it? Kamashulan, that kevanti isle anomi nebebuchi. Regardless, the point is, it's some type of taste, some type of satisfaction. You make a bracha. As long as we have that, you make a bracha. Okay, so that's the machlokes, whether or not flour is adama or shakal in flour. Okay, now we're going to go to a similar topic, kura. Kura is, Rashi says, it's a part of it's something that grows. It's not really the bark, but something that it shoots off the tree of the palm tree. It's soft, and it grows every year, and it's kind of, it's something you can really eat. It eventually will get hard. It's actually going to be more like bark or something. It's going to turn hard, like very woody, but when it grows soft, it's something which I don't know if it has so much taste or whatever it is, but it's edible. Sakura, Rav Yehuda Omer B'Yadoma, so it grows on the ground. It's not the fruits of the tree, that's for sure. But you make a B'Yadoma. Shmuel says no, it's not really food. It's not be'etzem, the natural food of the ground, and therefore it's shakol le'vidvaro. Rav Yehuda Omer B'Yadoma Perihu. It's considered a growth, something that's payers of the ground. It's like a vegetable. Shmuel Shamar shakol le'vidvaro. And Shmuel says shahakol le'vidvaro. Why? Since today it might be able chewable and everything, but it's going to become like a piece of wood. It's not called food. So Shmuel says, I'll prove to you. Sorry, says actually you're right. You're right. Snowing is safe for lahakshos, and yet I hear what you're saying. It's going to get hard, but you're right. You find a good example is a radish. Nobody said a radish is not priyatama, but if you leave a radish in the ground for another week or two, it's going to be hard like a rock. You can't eat it. Loi. But that's not a raya. It's not really has to do again with how people perceive things. Since radishes not the inshir daita to pukla. So even though it will get hard, but the intent is to use it as a vegetable and take it out before. So it's therefore we perceive it as a vegetable, and you make it by priyadama. Dikla, but the palm tree and the kaira, loinoti insha daita to kaira. Nobody plants it to eat this kaira, this bark, or this whatever it is, this stuff that grows out. So that make a bracha. So that's one question. In fact, the Gemara says that's so. The fact that I didn't plant it for that determines that it's not a bracha. For tzlaf, there's a classic thing of called tzlaf. The nati insha daita the pircha. Now people plant it really for the flowers, the soft part that grows out, and yet amine nitzva ala olin ve'ala tmoris ayubrei priyatama. So you're right. On the flower part and the leaves and the berries, you make a dama. Valavyoinis. Now on the other parts, vakafrisin, on the harder parts of it, the other things that grow on it, the slav tree. I'm sorry. On the nits for the olin, these are the leaves and the berries, which you're not really making it to eat. You make a dama. On the vyoinis, these are the fruits and the fruits and the kafrisin. I think is the peel around the fruit is you make prepares. So you see that even things which are not planted to eat, the main part is the fruit, not the other stuff that grows. You still make a dama. So what's a shver? So you make it on the kura. Why can't you make a dama? They do plant it for. They do want to eat both. It's not true. Dikla, but the palm, not the inshataita the curry. They don't plant it for the curry at all. Now, even though Shmuel did give a raya, he said, "Yeah, you're right. It's probably what you're saying. It's like the radish." So, but no, the halach is like Shmuel. It goes to Shmuel, and that the kaira is only a shahakol. It's not called very priyadama. Zaktik more viter. Omer Rav Yehuda Rav. We're going to talk about slaf. Slaf shall orlo. Okay, again, slav. It's by the way, slav in English is called caper. It's called capers. I don't know. We have them, but we don't really. That's why we usually eat. It has different parts. It has the berries, and it has other things that grow on it. It has the actual the fruit itself, and it also has the peel around the fruit, a very thick peel, which is also somewhat edible. So what's the din? Slav shel orla. So it's got the two main parts of the fruit. So now normally something grows on a tree, which is a fruit. The halacha is it's orla. You can't eat. You can never eat, even in chutz la'aretz midrabanan. There's a din orla, which means for the first 3 years, you're not of the growth of the tree. you can't eat it. What about slav? You know, there's so many different things here. How do we define each one? So slav she'or lechutzor tzeikas kafrisin. So we say as follows. Again, we're talking about chutzor, it's rabbanon. So zoyrik is something I mean. You can't eat the v'yanis, the main fruits, but the peel, which is also edible, the kafrisin, you're allowed to eat. It's not. In other words, for orla is only when it's considered a fruit. If it's not considered a fruit, it's not a problem. So that's not called fruit. I'm sorry. Yeah. The Beira, the Avyaina is Peire, the Kafrisin Lab Pei. So in other words, what you're trying to tell me is the Kafrisin are not considered the fruit, so that's why you can eat it during Orla. Orla is only the pre-ha'etz. I proved to you that's not the case. So meaning Amina needs for all the tomatoes. On the different parts of the leaves and the berries, you say priyadama. That's not considered the fruits. Of yonis, kafrisin, of yonis, kafrisin on baypriates. In fact, here the Brachos says that you really say a baypriates on these kafrisin. So you see, it is fruit. So my answer is no. Yeah, it's a machlekes tonight. You don't have a kiva. He's saying that there's a machlekes on this point. Lazer says slap is asa towards of yonis kafrisin. He says you take meiser from all these things, also from the kafrisin. And Rabbi Kiva disagrees. He says, only the Avyaina is a pre, the Kafrisin is not pre. So therefore, Rav Yehuda Marav says there's no Orla on the Kafrisin. That's according to Rabbi Kiva. No, Rabbi Kiva is a very important person. You can possibly look at Rabbi Kiva. So then why didn't you say, Frek the Gemara, just say straight out. Nema alocha Rabbi Kiva. Yeah, but Rabbi Kiva, that's misleading. I mean, I feel about it. I thought that would be across the board, completely alocha. But no, the answer is we're not saying it's so pashit. There is a shita b'kiva, but we're willing to use that only in chutzlar. It's kamash balon because it's a rule. We have the following rule in Orla. Anyone who's making if there's a shita that's mekel in Eretz Yisrael, so even though we may not paskin like that in Eretz Yisrael, we're machim in Eretz Yisrael. Halacha k'moisa b'chutzlar. It's al ba'ara it's loy. So that's what we're saying. We're saying that. That's what he's saying. He's saying, listen, everybody's saying, Eretz Yisrael, it's orally. You can't eat. You wouldn't be able to eat. But if you're in Chutz La'aretz and you want to eat, that's not a problem because there is Shitzer B'Kiv who says it's not called a pri. It's not orla, and therefore, at least in Chutz La'aretz, it is permissible. In fact, the Gemara, so it's still a more simple way of saying that. Let's just say straight like that. So it's still misleading. I would have thought that statement would be Ma'maiser, Elon. It's good from the Rabbanan. We have an Orla, which is a slightly more chomer than Maiser, because in Eretz Yisrael it's the Raisa. So now, even though in Chutzlah it's the Rabbanan, but still, in Chutzlah it's not meaning, so we still would make the Didim more chomer in Orla, even in Chutzlah, and you would ask a Kafrisa, Kamash Malan, that's permissible. Ravina Ashka Chalamar Bavashi, the Kazarak of Yonis. In fact, we found a Maiser Shahaya, where he's Ochel Kafrisin. They're in Chutzlah, they're not in Eretz Yisrael, they're in Bavel or something, right? And I'm like, my daitcha, what are you doing? Could be a kiva the mekel. So obviously that's what he's doing, yeah. In fact, the Gemara, what do you want to go through? What is his business? V'levin mara kibei shamai de mekili tvei. So he's kind of like, he's giving him to Chacham. He's saying, you just pick Rabbi Kiva because he's mekel. Rabbi Shammai is even more mekel. Slap Bishami oimen kalayim, yikerim, yisilu oimen koyim bekerim. Elu elu moedim shechayim ba'orla. So Beishamai says that tzlav is not even kilayim b'kerim. It's not called a vegetable. It's not called. It's a vegetable. It's a yerek. It's not called a shvi at all. It's not even kilayim. So it's completely, the whole thing is not even a tree. He looks at like a bush. So you can even eat the v'yainis. Haguva kasha, I would slap the shaman kilayim b'keri. We had steroids, the apazam and yeriku. I'm sorry. If it is, it's as if I said the wrong. It is a minyarik, and it would be kilayim. If it's a tree, why is it? I guess the whole thing is. He says both. He's saying it's also not. He's making whenever he's making whenever he can make he's making both directions. Also on kilayim, also on. So he says one time, one says it is kilayim. He says it's orla. So then there wouldn't be a problem with kilayim. Halakach. Bishami sfuki misafki. Obviously Bishai doesn't know. So both cases, I'm sorry, it goes to Chumrah. In the two different cases, he says the Chumrah. In both cases, he goes to Chumrah. In Kilayim, he goes to Chumrah. In Arla also goes to Chumrah. You come up with Mishami have a Suffolk, but it's still Suffolk. It's not. It's, even in Eretz Yisrael, it's a Suffolk Orla. It's not Suffolk, but so also Suya Mutter. So Chutz Laretz, you're so you're allowed to eat it in Chutz Laretz. So why don't you go like Shama? You're allowed to eat everything. The whole thing is mutter chutzaretz. So we say Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Lazar, Avdin, Kavase. So this is an important rule in Psak. There's different levels. In other words, Rabbi Akiva, we don't have paskin like him, but we can rely on him in the chutzaretz. So Akiva is a big cheetah. Beshami we don't paskin like. Beshami Mokem Besilo ain't no Mishnah. It's b'chlal not a Mishnah, and we don't paskin like it. So therefore, it's not relevant. Okay, we're still behind.